like you saw a match, some paper, and some gasoline, and you said, why isn't there a fire over in that corner? And you just went and made a fire. It didn't have to be. Stop trying to make every space a gay space. What would you do in this situation? We've got a question that comes from Ask Gay Bros. I'm in my 20s and I work an office job. I'm not out at work, but I suspect that a few coworkers know I'm gay. I've had people ask me before and I denied it, mainly because a good portion of management is religious and not particularly fond of gay people. I have a middle school sense of humor and thought it would be funny to write "I heart gay bears" on a whiteboard in a little workspace adjacent to mine. Why would you do that at work? I know, stupid. We've got these huge whiteboards and people just always write messages on them. I don't really know the team that works over there, but there's this one older guy I always assume could be gay/DL. I have a pretty good gaydar, but I've been wrong before. Anyway, this phrase was up for maybe a week before somebody erased it. Today, a coworker who works in that office came over to talk to me. He said that he had seen the writing on the whiteboard and had guessed it was probably me who had written it. I asked him if I seemed like the kind of guy who likes gay bears. My other coworker shouted yes. He hesitated and said, no, but you seem like the type of guy who would write weird things on a whiteboard to mess with people. I denied having written it. He replied by telling me that he didn't want to say names, but they had a gay guy on their team. I said, I thought I knew who he was. He told me that the guy in question was offended by the text on the whiteboard, and he said that he'd like for me to apologize if it was me who wrote the phrase. Now I'm torn on what to do. Obviously, the whole thing feels like a way to try to get me to out myself as gay, since I seriously doubt that anyone would be offended by "I heart gay bears." I also wonder why I even care so much. Should I just pull my coworker aside and tell him I wrote it and that I'm gay myself? What would you do in this situation? Okay, first of all, you need to grow the hell up. That's some real honest and just blunt advice. There's an expression of don't shit where you eat. You don't want to make your work environment any more uncomfortable than it has to be. You've already said that the management is religious and they're not fond of gay people. You're giving them an excuse and a reason to not promote you and to not keep you there. So you should probably start looking for another job. That's real talk. I would not approach the coworker. Since we are where we are, I would deny it, because if they have no proof, there's no cameras inside the office to see that you wrote it, then yeah, I just deny it. That wouldn't be me. For one, if you're not out at work, why are you ready to now out yourself to this person who may or may not be gay, who you think is gay or might be DL, but you've also said that your gaydar has been off and you've been wrong before. Again, that's a very sticky situation. You can get HR involved. You're walking on the lines of harassment. Life lesson. This is exactly the reason why companies have certain degrees that they want you to have. It has nothing about that degree teaching you how to do your job. It's about life skills that you'll learn and a level of professionalism that's expected at a certain level. And you are in your 20s, as you said, but you're acting, and you, as you said, you have a sense of humor of someone that's in middle school. I don't know if you're delayed, I don't know if you're on the spectrum, but this is a learning lesson for everyone that, you know what this is like? It's like you saw a match, some paper, and some gasoline, and you said, why isn't there a fire over in that corner? And you just went and made a fire. It didn't have to be. Stop trying to make every space a gay space. If your office is a space that doesn't quote unquote tolerate gays and is not really fond of it, and you're not out at work, why would you want to do something so silly and so stupid? But also, that's what your 20s are for. It's for you to fuck up the jobs that you really didn't want, or it could be a really good job that you wish you had later on in life. But make no mistake, this type of behavior, people in the office are already going to be talking. If there's suspicion of you being closeted yourself because you're not out, and you have to ask yourself and answer for yourself, what would being out at work do for you? And just weigh that. But let me know in the comments what you think. What would you do in this situation? And I just refreshed it and I see that we've got 3 comments so far. So let's go ahead and read what they say. Well, now you know why you don't discuss your sexuality in a work environment. Apologize to the guy you offended. Don't come out to him. Don't talk about sex in the workplace unless you're on a porn studio. I wouldn't necessarily apologize to the guy that I offended because, again, you have to admit that you wrote it, and then it becomes this whole other thing. Well, what were you meaning? Were you flirting with him? Whole nother can of worms that I don't think you're ready to deal with. Again, if there's no proof that it was you, if your handwriting, now that's another tricky thing, because I know that people write differently on whiteboards than they do like on paper or whatever, but if it's no doubt about it that it's your handwriting, and I don't know where you are, but I think it's important to point out here for everyone in the US that you can be punished for harassing discrimination behavior, even if that behavior is directed against a group that you yourself belong to. Exactly. So even though I am gay, I could still be reprimanded or even fired if I made inappropriate gay jokes at work. You can replace that with any other protected characteristic too. That said, if they don't have evidence that you're the one who wrote it, and it sounds like they don't, then I would probably just err on the side of caution and just continue to deny this if I were you. That could come back to bite you in the ass if they do have evidence though. I fail to see how writing I Heart Gay Bears is harassing or discriminating though. The guy in question isn't a bear whatsoever. I'm not talking ill about the gay community. It's a statement of love. Okay, so I think that you're just a shit starter. That's what I think. Based on this comment, you're just a shit starter because you're not trying to hear or see anything else. Again, you went over there, you started the fire, you're pouring the gasoline, and you're like, oh, it's just all love. What the fuck ever, man. Grow up. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Deuces.
Talking spicy. Yeah.